Mystique 50s, 10 run then, and still joint favourites here, with Salt Whistle Bay being one of them at the head of this handicap. The top weight, Richard Kingscott on board. Richard looking for a double here. Does handle conditions, Salt Whistle Bay, and is well handicapped.
Yeah, and for those reasons, he's the horse that I've backed in the race, with a couple at bigger prices on side, but I thought he had a very good chance, and I like the booking of Richard Kingscott on this horse, who won his only previous visit to this track, and comes here fresh on the back of a little bit of a break, which I don't think is any bad thing so far as he's concerned. The stables horses have been running pretty well on recent starts, and Salt Whistle Bay, as you mentioned, handles the ground, has got down to a good mark, got an inside draw, not loads of pace on in this race, and I thought that Richard Kingscott was a good jockey booking around this track on a front runner, and he might just be able to get the run of things out in front. So there were a few little factors so far as he was concerned that made him of some interest, and he hasn't been on ground soft enough for him in his last few starts, has he? And back onto softer ground off a £5 lower mark than when he was second to War Glory the last time he got easy ground at Lingfield. I think he looks on a good mark.
Do you think the ground was the only excuse at Newbury last time? He was beaten 32 lengths.
It was a really bad run, but for whatever reason, he was disappointing that day. I think you just have to scratch it really and say it was too bad to be true. Now, he's been off again since. Maybe something came to light. I don't know what the reason was, but the fact that he's been off again since, and that they've got him out under optimum conditions, you just hope that he bounces back. On his previous form, he is attractively enough handicapped.
Yeah, okay. And he's 7-2 favourite. Rudy Lewis is second in at the moment. They were joint favourites, but Rudy Lewis for Charlie Fellows, who won the previous race, of course. And this is a son of Acceleration, who was 7th at Chelmsford last season, but when we last saw him on the turf, he ran pretty well at Thirsk. I thought he was narrowly beaten with some cut in the ground that day. That was a good run behind Gunnison. And there might be more to come from him back on this surface.
Yeah, the tardy start probably cost him that occasion at Thirsk, because the winner was much better positioned and he shaped well from too far back. But that missing the break is becoming a little bit of a hindrance to him. You're right, he was disappointing last time out, but the previous run was a good one. He handles the soft ground, he's not yet exposed. He probably wants a decent pace to aim at, which could be his undoing. Stable have already had a winner, and the rider has a good record at the track.
Yeah, that's Rudy Lewis. Vive la Différence ran quite well at Musselburgh last time. I thought that was a fair effort from Vive la Différence, and perhaps a tiny bit unlucky as well, not beaten all that far under David Allen. Joanne Fenterman takes over today, and Tim Easterby has been able to do little wrong for a couple of weeks. Yeah,
and a change in headgear for him. They're going to the cheek pieces rather than the blinkers that have been on recently. A little bit like Rudy Lewis, he's a horse that can miss the break. That's what he did at Musselburgh last time out, and that's a bad track to be missing the break at Musselburgh. You rarely get away with it. If they went a decent pace and the race folded, he has become well handicapped as Vive la Différence. So with that in mind, he's of some interest off what is an attractive rating under ground conditions he handles for a yard, as you say, that are in good form. Yeah. It's not a very strong race, is it? Quarry Beach we should give a mention to. As well for the Henry Candy team, daughter of Dutch Art. Holly Doyle is on board. Fairly good run at Newbury last time, finished second there. Kieran Schumart was on board behind Bear Force 1. The time of the race was quite good. Yeah, it was. She's proving really consistent. You could look at her and say that she's probably not well handicapped given her record. She keeps on finishing second. Don't think she's doing a great deal wrong in terms of attitude. And one or two of her times suggest that she might not be on a bad handicap mark. So I think she can go on and win a race. But in particular, there's a limited amount of encouragement for her liking this ground. I think that is a genuine concern for her. Yeah, even though she's by Dutch Art. Yeah, the whole dam side of the pedigree, including a couple by Medici, and just didn't really go on easy ground. The dam's by Generous, of course, and Generous and his progeny loved quick ground, so she may just take after that side of the family. Certainly her best runs and best times have been on decent ground. So, loading up now. What's it to be then? You've
Back Salt Whistle Bay.
Yeah, back Salt Whistle Bay. I've had a couple of quid on Vive la Difference off that falling mark, and also on Push Me Pull You at a really big price. She's had a break since her disappointing run last time out. She's been well beaten on her last 2 starts, but she probably wants soft ground, and some of her form, including at Yarmouth, when she won on soft ground and beat a pair of horses that did go on and improve ultimately, that would give her a chance, having a bit of a stab in the dark. But
yes.
I thought at a big price it was worth keeping her on side. Espresso Fredo bounced back to winning form last time out. He hasn't had much racing on a soft surface, and he absolutely bolted up at Bath. Now, he can blow the start as he did last time out, and the pace kind of collapsed ahead of him, but he won that race pulling a cart, and he's still well handicapped on old form, and he hasn't had much racing on ground softer than good, which seems to suit him, so you wouldn't rule him out. But as I say, I thought Salt Whistle Bay had a lot in his favour.
Yeah, okay, we are nearly ready. Salt Whistle Bay might make the running here. The thought under Richard Kingscote. Let's find out with Mark.
And finally, Rudy Lewis. They're in the gate. And they're off. MOATAZ broke alertly, so too did Thorn, and towards the inside Salt Whistle Bay. And Salt Whistle Bay now claims the lead to Thorn, racing in second as they go down the back stretch. They're then being followed towards the inside by Quarry Beach, and then quite keen on that one's heels is Push Me Pull You, just had to be taken back. Whipping around the outside, Rudy Lewis in company with Inner Circle. Being bumped on at the back of the field is Dark Mystique, who's only got one behind. That is the held up Espresso Fredo as they go around the turn. Salt Whistle Bay is out in front now by just over a length. To Thorn racing in second. Rudy Lewis now is in third. Quarry Beach the Rail is in fourth. Vive la Difference around the outside to take fifth. Push Me Pull You against the rail is in sixth. Inner Circle making the turn in seventh. MOATAZ then on the inside of Espresso Fredo, and struggling badly at the back of the field is Dark Mystique. They race inside the final half mile, and Salt Whistle Bay still has the lead over Thorn in second position. Vive la Difference on the outside of Rudy Lewis and Quarry Beach, and then MOATAZ, who's now beginning to pass one or two rivals, will try and get a seam up against the inside rail. Meanwhile, Inner Circle and Espresso Fredo are making their move around the outside. Inside the final quarter mile, it's Thorn now on the outside of Salt Whistle Bay, who are the first two. MOATAZ will thread the eye of the needle between them. Vive la Difference then on the outside, Espresso Fredo continuing to stay on inside the final furlong. MOATAZ has the lead. Espresso Fredo is now in second. They're being followed by Salt Whistle Bay and the staying on Thorn. They've got 50 yards to go, and it is MOATAZ who wins. Espresso Fredo was in second, and in third was Thorn.
MOATAZ has won for Marco Botti and Stefano Cerci, who claimed 7 off this horse's back, beating Espresso Fredo into second place. 7-1 the winner of Nottingham's 3:30, and we can treat you to a full replay here. MOATAZ from stall 9. Now, we thought Salt Whistle Bay would jump and make the running. He's done that, but he's been pestered by Thorn all the way. He's pushed him on a bit quicker than he wanted to go, probably.
Yeah, Thorn has been a thorn in his side from the outset, really, because Richard Kingscote was probably wanting to dictate, but Peter Hyatt's Thorn has just sat handy enough. He's quite a free-going horse, and he's kept the leader honest on the front end. You can see Push Me Pull You in behind hasn't really settled particularly well. The winner is in a similar sort of position, and MOATAZ, this is only the second start that he's had on the grass, and it clearly suits him better than the all-weather that he's been on each of his starts since. He's run all right on the grass on a couple of on the all-weather a couple of occasions since, but he's never quite matched that form from this track. When I knew he was well beaten, but he was beaten by Miss O'Connor, who went on and won in listed company on her next start. That was on soft ground at this track, and back onto soft turf has really suited him, as has a contested pace. You can see the winner and the second are in the last two of the main group. The other horse that can't go with them, sort of irrelevant from a pace point of view, and they've just got racing a good way out and set up a good pace, and always travelling well, smuggled up between horses. The unexposed MOATAZ has won that well.
Yeah, I thought it was a nice little ride on him, actually, to be honest. Just crept and crept and crept in behind the two leaders, and got a split between them in the end. On the outside, Espresso Fredo's come to challenge, but I think he did a fair bit of running to get there, and there wasn't much left.
He did, but then the winner has come from a similar position. I just wonder whether last time out there was nothing finding, they'd all stopped and fallen away, and he looked to me like he hung fire a little bit once he got there.
Yes.
Thorne has run well because he was always up on the pace, he was quite keen. I suspect that a quicker surface might not be a problem for him. I had a doubt about the ground coming into the race. He's obviously handled it really fine, but maybe just because he is a little bit free, something slightly less testing would help him, but he's run well in third.
Yeah, he has run well. He's run well his last two starts on good to firm ground. But Al MOATAZ was 1, 7 to 1. Espresso Fredo 11 to 2. Thorne 16s in third, 10 round. And Al MOATAZ time 1:50.37, 8.97 outside standard. Right, heading back to Navan. We're still sprinting. It's another 5 furlong event. And it's a handicap Medicine Jack sharing favouritism with Royal Canford. Art of Unity's 13 to 2, 7 to 1 Aspen Bell, 7 to 1 Elif, Mere Comet 7 to 1, 11 Soars, Aurora Eclipse 12, 16s Mokalad, Zodiacus 16s, 25 Chicago May, Marek 25s, 33s, no speed limit for another 5 furlong event. After this we get into the mile contest and 1 mile and a quarter race as well. But it's all been about the straight course today at Navan so far, Chris.
It has, and this